This piece is very, very disturbing the more you look at it. Kind of looks like a fantasy version of Quato from Total Recall.
I love this place!
There's an old punchline that goes something like, "I thought your work was original and good. However, the parts that were original weren't very good, and the parts that were good were not very original." When you inherit something that you didn't have the talent or vision to make, and you virulently detest what made that thing special to begin with, you'll find yourself much like modern-day Wizards of the Coast. These days, it seems they can only dispassionately ape the past successes of far better people. But it's gotten so bad at Wizards that they're even screwing up the stuff that they're stealing from the past. Recently, we had the cheap cash grabs that were Spelljammer and Planescape. And now the Reapers from Renton are back at it, defiling the adventure that an entire generation grew up on. Wizards indeed just released Heroes of the Borderlands, a starter box set relying on nostalgia and not much more. That's right, civilization is no longer safe, but not due to any goblins or carrion crawlers. It's the pod people in Seattle who are determined to corkscrew this game into the ground quicker than Captain Karen here. Now, I originally was intrigued by this, as the company had said beforehand that the adventure was actually going to be a sandbox with no overarching plot. But as usual, Wizards caved in to the first bit of pressure from their preferred audience of weirdo women with Kamala cards in their nose and men with testosterone levels lower than the Democratic Party polling numbers lately. They whined that all that freedom was bad, that they needed to be led around by those nose rings on the choo-choo of bad gaming. Hence, Wizards released a bunch of ham-fisted, downloadable metaplot crap that spits in the face of the original adventure and anyone with a modicum of talent for improvisation behind the DM screen. The box set itself is getting a lot of criticism for appearing more like a board game than a role-playing game, but one look at its bizarre and wildly inconsistent art will let you know that you're indeed in the domain of modern-day D&D. Yes, there are some good pieces in here, at least by modern standards, but for every one of those, it seems there's unfortunately stuff like this. In the legendary Caves of Chaos, the group stumbles onto a goblin birthday party. Yes, you heard that correctly, a goblin birthday party. Wrapped presents, gift bags, even a cake. Oh boy. Are you being attacked or entertained? I don't know which. This company is thoroughly obsessed with putting this kind of cringe into their adventures, sanding off the sharp edges of an imaginary game just to satisfy the retarded millennials and zoomers who seem to enjoy this kind of garbage. Now remember, if you want to bump up the danger level, you can always make that cake-cutting knife magical and give those goblins the illegal UK immigrant subclass. There's also some bizarre anatomical choices in the art. I know they have cultural consultants for everything nowadays, but might I suggest, Wizards, not allowing a blind person to be your art editor? That is the only explanation for this. How long is that neck? As we've seen, they really don't care about the art itself, only that the artist is either a woman or a non-white man. I actually had this confirmed by an insider at Wizards of the Coast who was reaching out to me. They will only hire their white male artists sparingly, and only if they apparently need something done correctly. And yes, this art was indeed made by a female artist, so for them it had to go in, even if his neck is longer than a giraffe's. Not thinking, of course, that this type of art actually smears the good female artists out there that also laugh at this stuff. And what was the inspiration anyway? One of those weird tribal women who lengthen their neck by years of wearing those odd rings? There's also Cornflower here, done by the same artist. Looks like she just went 14 rounds with Apollo Creed.
I can't see nothing, gotta open my eye. Come here, Mick.
And then there's whatever this nightmare is. What, Todd Browning's Freaks not disturbing enough for you? Try out old Ruckus here. This piece is very, very disturbing the more you look at it. Kind of looks like a fantasy version of Quato from Total Recall, only with better hair. Notice the eyes, too. They seem to be in love with bulging peepers nowadays. This guy is almost as disturbing as Ruckus there. Look at those things. Marty Feldman's brother from another mother. It's not just in the humans either, but the creatures who also seem to have this proptosis. I honestly have to conclude that the artist here does not know how to do eyes properly. Or maybe it's one of those disgusting internet fetishes that I've been mercifully shielded from up to this point. Well, whatever it is, for the love of God, please stop. These are die 100 sanity losses that are being casually thrown around. There's also, of course, the usual art with a message. Hence, almost every person of a physical nature or in a position of authority in the keep on the Borderlands seems to be a chick in this game. When you walk up to the gates of the keep, this is what you see.
Hope you wore your bulletproof vest.
Now, I can't see this gal tangling with Emirikal the Chaotic, and if she did, it would probably go a lot like this. The captain of the guard is this beauty, with a stare deader than Keith Olbermann's career. She sort of looks like the half-sister of Bob from Twin Peaks, without all of his charm, of course. But then again, being ugly is the point here, isn't it? The blacksmith, well, that's Large Marge. Here you go. What I hate about modern D&D art is that the women either look like deranged techie girls giving a TikTok tour of their job, or like founding members of the Eileen Wuornos fan club. There is no in between. They also had to make their adventure ADA compliant by shoehorning in Speed Racer here. She's a guildmaster who, and I quote directly from the adventure, says smart things and always has the last word. That'll show the chuds. By the way, this wheelchair looks way too modern, which I know is something that doesn't trouble the Morlocks in charge of D&D these days, but dear God, come on, people. We're not even trying to make it look like a pre-industrial fantasy world here. Then there's O'Leara, the shopkeeper, who looks like a dainty flower, I guess.
Lay off me, I'm starving!
Okay, if you want to say she's a fellow adventurer, that's fine. But why a shopkeeper? They're trying to subvert expectations. They should realize our expectations for Wizards of the Coast and D&D nowadays are lower than Stephen Bonnell's knees. The diversity roundup also includes this brother Scribe, who's a dwarf too. Kind of looks like a character from a Tyler Perry movie. There's another weird halfling chick who's the moneylender. The adventure makes it so you have to run this gauntlet of angry, disabled women just to outfit yourself. The keep is supposed to be a reprieve from the dangers of the Borderlands, but with this moody crew, I think I'd actually be more at home in the Caves of Chaos. Are there any normal-looking guys? Sure, I suppose so. The barkeep looks normal, even if he does look like an NFL running back. The Castellan is a fairly normal-looking guy, but very consciously not white. We've also got a fat Asian guard stuffed into his armor like a sausage. There's a normal-looking dwarf, which I think is the closest thing to a white guy they have in the keep section of the adventure. There's a diverse feast picture, which is now becoming so ubiquitous with Wizards of the Coast. They think everything has to look like the worst parts of Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Seattle. At the table, there's some sister coming up behind Gimpy Littlefinger here, one of the few white guys shown in the entire set. He's a pipsqueak, of course, which I'm sure was by design. Now look, with the anger of some of these women in the keep, it might be kind of like riding a modern-day subway in a major city. Never relax around these guys, Bombo. It's all so tiring. Find anything to play but modern D&D. They tell a full 70% of their audience that they hate their guts, and dudes still buy this crap. I don't understand it. The game is so embarrassing. It's like one of those dreadful Hannah Gadsby comedy shows where everyone knows that the point is just to lecture you. The game no longer seeks to entertain you by inspiring your imagination, but to crush your imagination with soulless slop and cutesy content for 9-year-olds, all coated in a DEI veneer. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember that we are live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for The Lair. That's our weekly live stream where me and a couple of friends wisecrack our way through the modern world, gaming and otherwise. subscribe and hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss a minute of the fun. And let me know what you thought in the comments below of this video. Are you going to get Heroes of the Borderlands, or are you going to pass? I'd love to hear from you. All right, that's all for today. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we're going to talk real soon. Peace.